Welcome back to OPTCG Central, your hub for all things One Piece card game related. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. It really helps us bring you more One Piece TCG matches and more.
As you said, help you get round if the starve tactic comes in.
Yeah, absolutely. So will be really interesting. Has the really nice color pool of green and blue to obviously utilize as well. So really good color combination. But let's see how this one plays out. And talking
For
of law,
sure.
look at Hodo here, making sure he's dressed the part.
Very much so. So for those of you who don't know, which if you don't, Ace is a 6k power free life leader and has two kind of effects to him. So first of all, on your opponent's attack once per turn, you may trash any card from your hand, give one of your opponent's leaders characters minus 2000 battle for that battle. So essentially giving a 2k counter. And then Don times 1 once per turn, when you take damage or one of your characters with 6000 base power or more is KO'd, you draw 1 card. So you will be seeing a lot of card draw in theory, a big hand of Ace going on right now.
Yeah, and this is what I find playing against this particular ace deck is within a few turns, their hand size is just huge, and you're like trying to think, how am I going to get about this? And knowing that every card in their hand, even what we call bricks, which are cards with no counter, or events where you don't have the Don that you can play the event out as a counter, they're still 2k counters essentially, because you are trashing 1 card from your hand, which is a non-counter card essentially, and giving something minus 2000. So really powerful. And you do find that you do end up seeing ace players filling their hand up very quickly. You will see cards with 6000 power or more being played. I mean, I think Marco's like an on-curve one that you would normally see.
Yes.
And then you've got that wonderful 8-cost event, which I constantly keep seeing against Ace, which is I Am Whitebeard, meaning you could cheat out that 10-cost Edward Newgate on your 8 Don turn and essentially give 2 Don to one of your characters and your leader as well. And I think you draw with that Newgate as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Draw 2, trash 1,
Yeah.
and then assign the 2 Don to 2 players.
And that's not
But
leader
speaking of
locked either.
no,
So
no.
any blue deck can benefit from that particular Newgate.
Speaking of other cards or the draw cards, we see a ace player who got to go second has played out Atama, which is if you have three or less life, draw 2, trash 1. Once again, more card draw, getting rid of cards you don't need. Fantastic, fantastic card, which also sets up the play for later on for their 6 Don curve of playing a Jozu. Bounce Atama back to hand to get that 2k counter, and then bounce something with Jozu.
Yeah,
You know,
Atama, very good friend of Ace and a good synergy with this Ace leader indeed.
but we saw Rosinante do a great opening play. Card we mentioned earlier in the Zoro matchup, 3-cost Mihawk. When you have 2 or less characters on board, on play out a 4 or less slash type character or Muggy Kingdom. In this case, he played out the 4-cost 6k Cavendish. Really good card when attacking, draw 2, trash 1. So already trying to compete with that card draw that Ace can do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Romain saw that danger there and was trying to focus his attacks, I believe, into that Cavendish, knowing how powerful it is, being able to do that card draw and cycling those cards, finding the right pieces in your hand every time you attack, and does draw into a protection blocker and the Eustace Captain Kid. Decides to trash the kid.
It's a
And,
very interesting turn for Ace because they get to play Marco out. Fantastic. It's a blocker on KO draw 2. But when you're playing it on curve, you're not putting a Don on your leader. So now if you take that life, you're not getting that second draw. So this, which we're seeing here with Romain, he's took the hit, but he doesn't get a card draw from the leader ability. So it's always a rough turn. You normally see Ace players counter out on that, but he's decided to take it. Maybe his hand's a bit too bricky. We'll see.
yeah, and as you mentioned, that Atama being able to be bounced back into hand later on. Hoda's aware of that, knows the matchup, so uses the sugar there to rest it and swing into it with that Mihawk to make sure that it cannot be utilized to be bounced back into hand. So very good play there.
Sugar, a card of many people's life that's just been a bane of their existence. For people who don't know, if your leader is Don Quixote family, pirates, On play, you get to rest the 4 cost. However, going further on your opponent's turns, when they now play a body, you can rest anybody on their board. Not leaders, obviously, any character. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where those big Whitebeard blockers, the turn they're played out, they can get turned sideways. And it would allow Hodor here to just still punch through. She becomes very frustrating. And the fact that she rests herself suddenly then means she almost becomes a pseudo blocker because your opponent has to clear her because it just deals with tempo so well.
Absolutely right. It forces your opponent to almost sequence things in a certain way, doesn't it? Because they need to get rid of that sugar. They need to know that they can play their bodies. So it forces your opponent and puts the tempo into your side, into your momentum. So really important. Ezo here. Now, this is where I fell apart last night. I'm just so silly. I forgot Ezo had a second ability because I had only played the matchup for the first time yesterday. And yes, I was focusing my trash opponent characters onto onto the GARPs that were on board, and I wish I'd done the EZOs because it costs me the game. Because it is very important. Not only does this EZO search, but it does have a later on ability as well. So on your opponent's attack, you can trash this character and draw 1 card, and then you place 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. It just means if you don't have the counters in hand or the right pieces, you can suddenly find them. And that's exactly what happened to me yesterday. To me, a game.
It's a tough time.
Yeah.
So we saw just before at the end of Romain's turn when he played down the Ezo, the sugar was able to do its effect and rest the Marco, which could be questionable. You could have swung with the Marco before to get more value and then play the Ezo. So you'd have worked around the sugar effect. But in this case, we lost the blocker. It's been turned sideways, which potentially, because you're playing blue-green, we could see Hodor drop a carrot, and that Marco never restands from that point on, just being a frozen body on board, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. But we see the block here, and then you do get to draw 2, and then you get to draw another one thanks to your leader ability as well. And this is where we talk about, look how thick the hand's looking now for Romain.
But
quite a stack of cards there.
You know, you have to be careful here because one of the big things, which I'm sure we'll see tomorrow be discussed, is pudding. It's a blue card. Rosinante has access to it. Its ace is too careless. Gets that big hand, and Hodor has a pudding in hand. It's a juicy target to play.
Yeah, absolutely is.
So we see a 7.
Yeah, just looking at what options are in hand there, it's going to be a difficult one to.
We see the leader ability here to give the -2k. And then out comes the carrot, as I said, freeze in that Marco. Very strong play from Hodor here.
Absolutely. Getting a really strong board here. Got protection as well from that blocker on the board as well in the form of Kushido. And has the sugar, has the carrot out now as well. So really, really good, strong board. And that Cavendish is doing so much work every turn. Be able to draw 2, trash 1, such an important card.
Well, this is the other thing as well, as you spoke at the start with you can use the Rosinante's leader ability to become a blocker. That pudding's just got that extra layer of protection of it keeps turning sideways to rest something when Romain's playing something out. And then you'd think, oh, he's going to swing into it. But when that leader's active, well, he's got that blocker. He's got a blocker right there. Like, it's suddenly just staying. But here we go. The big 8 cost event. I am Whitebeard. And as we said, here comes blocker Whitebeard. You get to play an 8 cost from a Whitebeard from hand. And then you could take a life. Romain's chose not to. But then it's draw 2, trash 1. And then attach 2 onto your leader and 2 to a character. Very big.
Yeah, so attaches 2 to the leader and 2 to Ezo there. And now Sugar rests that big 12,000 power blocker, as we would have assumed. Now Ezo is going to swing into the Sugar. Leader hasn't swung yet, so he is going to do a leader and Kashiro and to counter to keep both on board. And then now we're going to see the swing, 8k swing from leader.
I think it's going to go into Sugar, and then the leader will rest I think Hodo will rest
Yeah,
him.
use the leader to block here. There we go.
It's showing a very good showing why he's got to round 4 being XO right now
Yeah,
with
really good
with
understanding
Rosinante.
of the deck, really good understanding of the of the opponent's deck, being able to smartly play this, and look at that board presence he's got now. Being able to clear the EZO to begin with.
I was going to say, this is where swinging into EZO's a bit of a wild one because it could still trash itself before
Yep.
to allow it to cycle. So it forces him to do it early, which is maybe Hodu's plan. So it's not on Romain's terms of when I'm going to draw one, bottom deck one.
Yep.
But also, it's, you know, he's put no Don investment in that Mihawk, so he's not lost anything from doing it as well.
Yeah.
Cavendish putting in so much work, as you've already said, Taj.
Oh,
Another
good.
draw 2, trash 1. Getting bricks out of your hand, seeing the key cards that you need, you know. Cool, this is brilliant.
Yeah. Really good play. We see the counter there with the EZO. And now the carrot gonna swing and he's again freezing the Marco. No blockers available at the moment. So Romain is now having to again counter out of this one.
You know, this is potentially a showing of Hodu, who's prepared a very off-meta deck, but has very good chances of winning stuff because his understanding is really strong of it, into potentially Romain, who's never played into green-blue Rosinante. Didn't expect to see it today because, you know, when we all look at meta, everyone's like, oh, it's a very triangle-based meta.
Yep.
And then this comes along, and you think, okay, I've got second. I play on curve. Suddenly, well, you've got no Marcos. Oh, your blocker's got rested on the turn it comes out for Whitebeard. You're going to have to be cycling now because Kid's out. You know,
Yeah.
he's got 2 6K swings a turn, a 5K with leader, and now you've got Ace Cox Kid on board. This is questionable. This is very, very, very rough situation for Romain right now.
Absolutely is. And oh, nice.
And here
Protection
comes the Tashigi.
down.
So the Kashura got removed now because I guess its protection for Cavendish for so long wasn't needed, and Tashigi's now here to keep Kid in lock. This is a very dominant position right now from Hodu.
Absolutely is. And still that sugar on board as well. And that sugar's going to be standing behind that kid saying, you can't get to me.
This is one of those scenarios where if Romain does, and I know in some decks it's being cut, we have the 12 cost Whitebeard, or as it's become to known, Tax Beard, that forces all characters that are currently on board when it's played that if they want to swing, their controller, their player, has to trash 2 cards for each attack. Could buy Romain a turn to help him out here. But as I said, many decks are cutting it, so maybe he has it, maybe he doesn't. We'll have to see.
Yep. Going to be quite telling now, depending on how much we see. So he's putting 8 Don to one side, so we assume he's going to use the event to play out a Newgate here.
Well, he has 2 in hand right now, but he has choices. That I think I saw a 9 beard and a 10 cost blocker beard right there, so he does have the choices. I also saw a red rock, so if that Tashigi wasn't placed down, I'm wondering if Romain would have instantly just red rocked Kid off the board. And here we go. We see the 9 cost Whitebeard being played via Iron Whitebeard, giving Ace 2k power till the end of his opponent's next turn. Obviously, because a card got played out, Sugar comes into play. She rests herself. And a card gets rested. And just for clarification, even if Sugar is rested, she still will rest something when an opponent's character is played for the first time in the turn. It's a very, very strong card in this deck.
Absolutely. So now we're seeing a 10k swing into Kid. And now that Romain had sort of shown his play, and there was no tax beard, as you call it, being played, he's quite happy to do the counter and save that Kid, making sure it's still on board. So now 8k leader to have to swing into. Hodo's got quite a job to do here, but he's saying, right, Okay, I'm going to focus on your Marco instead. Let's try and get rid of that.
And once again, that Cavendish coming in big, drawing a red rock for him.
Yep.
So now, no Don investment, draw 2, trash 1, sure. Because he knows he can put 1 Don on 8 cost kid, and his opponent can't attack anything else.
Yep.
So,
Again, focusing on the Marco. Smart play here because you don't want to commit too much Don to swing into the leader. And then you're also bluffing that you might have a pudding in hand as well. But I think, yeah, I'm going to focus on your Marco, let you draw those cards.
add 10 Don, red rock, and a pudding right now would be very dangerous.
Yeah.
Very interesting choice here.
Let's
See
see
the
what
9k swing.
9 into life. 2k counter. Form of a Tama. And
So
now we are
carrot's
going to
gone.
see replace. Oh, Shanks comes on the board.
9 cost
rid of
Shank.
the Whitebeard.
Very great card. Honestly, my opinion, the best card in green. I know people say Dead Man Game, Hody Jones. 9 cost Shanks, KOs any rested character and leaves you with an 11k body next turn. Very strong position here. Remain down to 2 bodies. If fundamentals don't click in, because this is the problem. Whitebeard wants to chain blocker beards to attach the 2 Don.
Yep.
But as soon as he plays a body now, Hodo's going to use Sugar, probably rest the Whitebeard that's on board that could attack.
Yep.
And then you're down to 1 swing.
Yeah, it
And
makes it really awkward, doesn't it?
you're already playing 1 body a turn. The fact that you could lose 1 swing a turn, it's not a good state. And then next turn now, you've got minimum of an 8k swing, a 6k swing, and 11k swing. With no Don investment, and not even your leader swinging. It's not a good place for Romain.
It's not indeed. Hodo is in a very strong position here. Probably feels he's 1 turn away from taking a win here. So we are seeing the swing into Kid. He's going to use leader. He's happy to take that life. He knows. Oh, and he gets a pudding there as well from life. The pudding that was missing earlier on. He's now found it.
That very big hand could be quickly withered down now with that pudding next turn and still have 6 left.
Gonna be
So
interesting.
that hand looks very bricky right now for Romain.
Does
Not a
indeed.
good place. This is where I feel from a player's level, instead of using that Otama last turn to, 2k out, throw one of those bricks using leader ability. You've then kept a 2k, you've got one of those bricks away because you can't use that leader ability every turn. Whereas you can stack 2ks. This turn he could have used that 2k plus leader ability and he would have had a 4k counter.
Exactly. So what's he going to do here?
A lot of thinking.
Yep.
This is where I am Whitebeard coming in. The third one of the game. However, this is where I presume Romain's doing this purely. Okay, so he's activated the Iron Whitebeard now to give the 2k power from the event. So he's now an 8k leader again for the turn. And then get the draw 2, trash 1. Because he's not getting the blocker because Sugar's still on board. So that's going to get turned sideways.
So now just trying to give his leader that extra bump needed to survive. Potential swings coming in. Then we're going to see swing into Kid. Looks like an 11k swing. Does he have enough counter to be able to keep Kid on board here?
This is the big question because, keeping it on board, it doesn't look like he does. Because I think he only has the 2 Rosinantes and the pudding in hand. But keeping it on board obviously would be a great swing for this turn. But no blockers to contend with for Hodo. So we'll see what happens here. But obviously powering up to 8k once again massively changes math numbers. So that Cavendish all of a sudden has a 6k. You need 2
Yep.
Don to swing into my leader.
Yeah, exactly. Makes things a little bit more complicated.
You know, and Hodo being at 0 life now, it suddenly means you either have to get rid of one of those bodies, which could be possible. He's got 2 Rosinantes in hand and a Red Rock. But he drops the Pudding, so is this a go for gameplay?
Looks like potentially it is, but this could actually help Romain out rather than
Yes.
hinder him, because had Hodo known what Romain had in his hand, he might have been reluctant to do that. But Romain now might be able to get the counters needed to survive this turn. So
This is
Pudding's
the
always
danger of
great, but
Pudding.
sometimes can make things a bit better for your opponent. Let's have a look now. 5 cards being added to hand. Are we going to be able to get... Ooh, that doesn't look great to me.
No, it does not.
So
we're going to see at least a draw from leader ability, though, if it goes through on the first swing from Shanks.
11k swing into life. Takes the life. Leader effect draws the card. Now
But this
up
is
to
where it
7
becomes
cards
rough.
in hand. Yeah.
Because if he was able to keep the kid alive, this was very different maths. But now you're relying on putting these all on Cavendish and hoping you've got enough. Or he could gamble and he drops 2 Rosinantes right now and potentially buys a turn. But even then, there's 3 swings on board.
Yeah.
And you just divide the math at that point for ace. Because you know you can't play a body because Pudding's just going to rest some. Sugar's going to rest something.
So, what's he going to do here?
12k swing?
Looks like it. Draw 2. Trash 1. So, leader ability. Dropping it down to a 10k swing. Think he has the pieces. 2k counter. 1k. GG. They fist bump each other. Romain had the counter. And Hodo submits there, knowing without a blocker on board, those 3 swings are just going to be too much to be able to deal with.
If he didn't play Pudding, I think he wins the turn with the extra Don.
Yeah.
It's one of those
right.
in hindsight moments, which maybe they're discussing now. Romain's maybe telling him, and it hurts even more for Hodo. Like, or you play the other player